Hello, Birds Nation, and welcome to the show. The Birds have broken their two-game slide with an offensive explosion and on a defensively deceptive, dominant performance. It's time for my breakdown. I know that the focus should be on Jalen, AJ, and Devontae after last week's game, but I'm going to start over on the defensive side of the ball and help many of you who believe that the defense had an off day because of the 402 yards by Carson Wentz in the Minnesota Viking offense. Consider this. The Vikings posted 177 yards of total offense in the first half, 162 yards through the air, 15 yards rushing on 10 carries. They also had 2 passes intercepted, one for a pick 6 by Jalix Hunt. They were 1 of 6 on third down conversions and were 0 for 1 in the red zone for a grand total of 6 points. 6 points off 2 field goals. Carson Wentz's final numbers looked impressive. 26 for 42 for 313 yards passing with 2 sacks. The Vikings also only managed 89 yards rushing on 23 carries while kicking 5 field goals and converting only 1 touchdown on the day. Vic Fangio's defense kept the Vikings at bay long enough to keep the Birds close, allowing Hurts and the offense to pull it together for an historic performance. As explosive as the offense looked, nothing seemed easy. Yet after realizing that the O-line was faring better pass blocking than run blocking, Kevin Patullo put the game in the hands of his maligned quarterback, and Jalen Hurts answered in a huge way. Vikings DC Brian Flores is known for pressuring quarterbacks. Much of the season, Jalen's bugaboo. But the mini-bye must have given Patullo and staff a chance to make some much-needed changes. Jalen went off through the air, 19 of 23 for 326 yards passing and 3 TDs and a perfect passer rating of 158.3. Devontae Smith had a career day, catching 9 balls for 183 yards and a touchdown on the day, averaging 20 yards per catch and reeled in a beautiful 79-yard strike from Jalen Hurts to boot. A.J. Brown had his best day of the year, 4 catches for 121 yards and 2 touchdowns for a 30-yard per catch average. All is well between quarterbacks and wide receivers, at least for a week. The inability to get Saquon rolling is still a mystery, and we can all begin to see his frustration. The O-line is simply not pushing opponents' defenses off the ball and allowing too much penetration for the rushing attack to be effective. The hope is that the O-line can get healthy, get back to some semblance of what they were last year. I'll take a win on the road, and with the passing game off of life support, that's something that Birds fans and media can be happy about. That's my breakdown. After this break, Mark Eckel, retired 32-year writer covering the Eagles, joins the show to talk about the resurgent Birds offense and where the Birds go from here.
Hi, I got this old thing and the bill from the store where I got it. Figured you could beat it with a better deal than one of these big boys.
It doesn't work that way.
Well, at Verizon, anyone can bring in their AT&T or T-Mobile bill and they'll give you a better deal.
I thought Verizon was pricey.
No, better deal, best 5G network. Back to the TV. Does it come higher than 8K? Because I don't like to squint.
Ma'am, take your TV and go.
Bring your AT&T or T-Mobile bill to Verizon for a better deal.
Guess you're not as cool as Verizon.
You don't know that?
Picture this. You play big-time college football, you get some NIL money. You get drafted in the NFL, and you start making real big money. However, you're 23 years old and you don't have any credit. Here at Mid-Penn Bank, we're helping these athletes establish credit through secured credit cards and other strategies that can help develop their credit now, so as they continue to make money, they can have long-term success financially.
At Revolution X, we know that fortunes are made in times of uncertainty. Are you selling your investment real estate? Are you interested in deferring your tax with a 1031 exchange? At RevX, we're experts in 1031 exchange planning and the use of passive real estate options using DSTs. Not in the midst of an exchange and want to invest in real estate but don't know where to start? Revolution X has institutional-grade real estate options for any size investor right now. Set up a consultation at RevXWealth.com. RevX, defer the tax, maximize the gain.
Gentlemen, are you ready for a wardrobe update? Introducing Divine Nine's Custom Menswear, your clothier for truly unique, custom-made threads. With Divine Nine, you can design your own one-of-a-kind suit, jacket, slacks, shirts, golf pants, and shorts, perfectly handcrafted by our skilled artisans who will bring your vision to life. Prepare to stand out from the crowd with Divine Nine's Custom Clothier, official clothier of Seth Joyner. Custom clothing made for you.
Since 1893, Weber Display and Packaging has been Pennsylvania's leading manufacturer of corrugated packaging and displays. We're family-owned with 4 Philadelphia locations, 2 converting facilities, a warehouse, and a fulfillment center. Designed through delivery, we exceed customer needs. Weber Display and Packaging. Our core values drive everything we do. Come join our team. This segment is brought to you by Verizon Communications. Welcome back. Retired Birds writer for the Trenton Times and NJ.com, Mark Eckel is here to talk about a Birds win versus the Vikings. Mark, be honest, does a writer ever really retire, man?
I thought I did. I really did. I thought I did. And it's been 8 years, but people call me. They still want me to do stuff. I write a little bit for Philly Man, Jersey Man magazine. I do a podcast now with Ken Dunnick, Bird Brains with Ken and Mark. Now a friend of mine started a website, Central Sports Media. He asked me to write NFL for him. So no, the answer is no. We never.
All right, my friend. So, big day for Jalen in the offense. Every time the Dollars declare Hurts not fit, he seems to prove them wrong. What a performance, man.
I'm a Jalen Hurts guy. I like Jalen Hurts before the Eagles even drafted him. When I tell the story that a friend of mine who was a little bit ahead of me on, I guess his TV was ahead of mine during the night of that draft, he sends me a text, Jalen Hurts, ? And I text him back, I'm like, what about him? I love the guy. And he texts back, the Eagles just took him. I said, oh, dude, I didn't see that coming. But I said, but he's a great player. All he does is win, Seth.
All right. Well, we know that we know what AJ and Devontae can be, as well as Jalen. Why so much inconsistency with the passing game, in your opinion?
That's a good question. It just, to me, and again, I'm not there every day like I used to be, but it just seemed like they weren't on the same page sometimes. Like, I don't know if they were running, if AJ didn't run the correct route sometimes. I don't know. I'm not guessing. I'm not there, but it did seem like they were a little bit out of sync early this year. Now, Minnesota game, everything clicked. So if that continues, they're going to be a tough team to knock out.
We're trying to figure out what's going on with Saquon after his historic year last year. And I know that the offensive line is beat up, but beyond that, what do you see the biggest reason for their lack of running ability?
I think it's what other defenses are doing. I mean, Kansas City did it or tried to do it in the Super Bowl last year, and it worked to some extent. Steve Spagnuolo came out last year in the Super Bowl and said, I'm not going to let Saquon Barkley beat me. And he just loaded up the box. You can take away a running back. You know that. So if you don't want a running back to beat you, you can do that. But now you're opening yourself up to what happens, in the Super Bowl last year and what happened against the Vikings, where you're daring Jalen Hurts to beat you, and guess what? A lot of times he's going to beat you. So you can't stop everything, and I think teams just have that in their head that we have to stop Barkley, and rightfully so. The man did run for 2,000 yards last year.
Mark, when the offense has a day like it had Sunday, they're the talk, no doubt about it in this town. But the defense bent but didn't break all day long, and they held the Vikings at bay and made some huge plays. I think they had a great day, but some seem to disagree because of the 402 yards that Minnesota put up on them.
Yeah, I don't care about yards. I care about points, turnovers. I wrap this game up into one little nutshell, in that Jalen Hurts made every play presented to him, and then some, and made no mistakes, which he normally doesn't do. He rarely makes mistakes, and he had the perfect game. On the other hand, the former Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz, now with the Vikings, did not make the big plays and made a couple costly mistakes with the pick six to Hunt, and he didn't get it done. I mean, the Vikings, like you said, the Vikings moved the ball up and down the field, but they were kicking field goals while the Eagles were scoring touchdowns. And to me, that's the difference in the game. The Vikings scored as many times. They were just getting 3, while the Eagles were getting 6. So you'll take that all day if you're defensive. As long as your offense is putting up 6s, you can give up 3s.
Well, my friend, you know how it is in Philly. We want to put up 500 yards of offense and hold the opponents to 0 as if, they don't have the ability. My friend, it's always great to catch up with a reporter or a retired reporter who covered me in my day. Thanks for joining me, Mark.
That was when I first started, and the team, I thought it was going to be easy all the time. My first pro assignment was covering Buddy Ryan and your Eagles, and I was like, man, it's never been as good as to cover a team as it was covering you and Reggie and Clyde and Jerome and Buddy and Randall, and it was easy. It made it easy for us.
Well, we kept it interesting, my friend. Hey, listen, Mark, I appreciate your time today, man. Thank you. Up next, Brad Feinberg is here to help try and make sense of the craziness that has been the betting and fantasy world through 7 weeks.
There's a number on the screen.
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 There is a number on the screen.
There's a number on the screen.
There's a number on the screen. There's a number on the screen.
Pride, passion, and persistence. These are the values that drive us all at Ron Jaworski Golf. We strive to deliver outstanding conditions as well as playability for golfers of all ages and abilities. Our championship golf courses offer a variety of challenges from a link-style walk along the river to an escape into the pines and everything in between. My team at Ron Jaworski Golf is committed to delivering memorable experiences every single day. See all we do at ronjaworskigolf.com.
Since 1893, Weber Display and Packaging has been Pennsylvania's leading manufacturer of corrugated packaging and displays. We're family-owned with 4 Philadelphia locations, 2 converting facilities, a warehouse, and a fulfillment center. Designed through delivery, we exceed customer needs. Weber Display and Packaging. Our core values drive everything we do. Come join our team.
Hi, I got some work done with another surgeon. If I give you the bill, can you give me a better deal on a better face? Like this?
We're not doing that.
Well, at Verizon, anyone can bring in their AT&T or T-Mobile bill, and they'll give you a better deal on the best 5G network.
What?
Read my lips. You're not as cool as Verizon.
Guess not.
Hey, my eyes are up here.
Bring your AT&T or T-Mobile bill to Verizon for a better deal.
I miss turtlenecks.
At Mid-Penn Bank, we believe in the power of community. We're not just another bank, we're your bank. We're also your neighbor. For over 150 years, we've been helping dreams come true, financing projects that make a difference locally. From small businesses to community centers, we're here to support what matters most to you, donating time and resources to strengthen the Philadelphia region. And when Philly's favorite superstars need a bank they can trust, they turn to Mid-Penn Bank just like you can. Mid-Penn Bank. Stronger communities, stronger futures. Let's build something great together.
This segment is brought to you by Recovery Unplugged. Welcome back. Brad Feinberg joins me now. Give him a follow on X at Brad's Best Bets for your weekly betting and fantasy tips. Brad, BG is back. Not only that, but I really want to get your opinion as well on what's happening in the world of betting in the fantasy world with all of these upsets. But BG first, your opinion.
Seth, it's funny. I really am curious, someone like you, your take, because you were obviously not only a great player, but a great leader, one of the most respected players. And I'm curious, in your opinion, is this something that's because they need the defensive line help, or they just need more leadership with terms of what A.J. Brown and all the peripheral stuff that's happening with this team? Look, as a guy who will always loved Brandon Graham, I think he leads the all-time leader in games played, third-time all-leader in sacks. Love Brandon Graham. I'm curious at your take. Do you think this is a needed thing, or do you think this is more they're doing just for production, or more kind of like we need that locker room presence?
I think it's a combination of it all. I think that, one of the things I believe that Howie underestimated was the fact that, you lost so much leadership and you want to go young on the defensive side of the ball, but you also needed, that veteran presence. I think that's why Zadarius Smith was brought in after week 1.
Yeah.
With his retirement, now, you get BG coming back. BG is a voice in that locker room. He's a voice on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know about production. Yeah, they need more production, but I'm not so sure that, this move is entirely a production move. I think it's a move, to get leadership, and I think the fruits of bringing him back will bear itself in the production of the young guys, and for him, in the latter stages of the season leading into, the playoffs.
That's a great answer. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was expecting. That because it makes sense. It makes sense. And Seth, what you said in terms of like the topsy-turvy gambling world, which is the world I live in, man, Seth, you are right. I mean, you almost have to have amnesia every single week. What I mean by that is, it is the National Football League, and anything can happen every single week, with the exception, Seth, I'll say that Tennessee Titans and the New York Jets are probably the two teams you say, man, it's going to be hard for these two teams to win. But gosh, it is incredible, Seth, to me that you see every single week, when you think you know it all, you know nothing with the National Football League. It changes like the wind. And I'll say this, from betting perspective, Seth, a team that I've been adding some bets on recently to win the Super Bowl, 35-1 odds, not because I think they're going to win it, Seth, but just what you said. Who the heck knows? The Seattle Seahawks, I think, are a very underrated team. I don't think any team stands out in the NFL. I think Seattle's been as impressive as any of them, and their odds are way higher than the quote-unquote elite teams like Philadelphia, Detroit, etc. That's a team I think has some value at 35-1 for everyone watching.
Keeping on that line of underrated, give me your underrated and overrated for fantasy in week 8.
Seth, I don't do this often. I'm going to tip my cap to myself yesterday because last week we went a strong, and I mean a strong 8-0 on the underrated overrated. It was almost like I was Biff from Back to the Future last week. Hopefully I can do it again this week. Not very often, but hopefully I can do it again this week. Underrated, Seth, quarterback. Let's go with Lamar Jackson. Now, he's not cheap. He's the second highest, most expensive quarterback, but his price is not that high. And if he plays this week, which I'm expecting, going against a really bad Bears defense, Lamar, fantasy-wise, Seth, he's the best of the best. Really like Lamar. Running back-wise, I'm going to take his tag team partner, Derrick Henry. This is the cheapest Derrick Henry's ever been that I can recall in all the years I've been doing this, Seth. He's barely priced in the top 15. He's usually a top 3 guy. And that's because Lamar hasn't played. Now, again, if Lamar plays against the Bears defense, Derrick Henry is an auto buy. Wide receiver-wise, Seth, this guy just keeps playing well every freaking week. Chris Olave, he's had 7 good games in a row going against a very porous Tampa Bay Bucks defense, and he's not even expensive. He's cheap. Give me Chris Olave again. And defensively, Seth, I took him last week. I'm going to go back to the well this week, going against a really good Patriots offense. But this Browns defense, to me, best in the NFL, Seth. That's my underrated list. Now, for overrated, listen, I'm going to have to say, you just heard me talk about the Browns and how much I love their defense. Drake May's being priced in the top 5. Love Drake May, but this is not the matchup to buy him in. This is going to be a tough game, I think, for New England to win. And I don't think Drake May can put up a great game. Do not take Drake May at that price. Running back-wise, I'm going to get some jeers from the fans watching, but you can't take Saquon Barkley, Seth. You can't. He's just been more or less every week not good, and he's being priced as a top 3 or 4 guy. I need to see something before I just, okay, this is the week. This is the week. Can't take Saquon Barkley. Receiver-wise, this guy's now being priced 4th of all receivers. He's been great, but a lot of that greatness was without CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens going against a really good Denver pass defense. 4th most expensive player after only guys like CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase. No thank you. And defensively, Seth, Tampa Bay's being priced is the 4th best defense. Their defense stinks. It just is not very good. I know New Orleans is not very good, Seth, but I'm not taking them.
All right, my friend, what's your top 4 betting picks for week 8?
Well, Seth, it's interesting. Right now, Vikings playing the Chargers. Chargers have no home field. This line's sitting at 3.5. Was 3, now it's 3.5. I don't get it. I think it's kind of a 50-50 kind of game. Vikings should have covered last week. That was a controversial Hawkinson call, cost them the cover for anyone watching. I went 3-2 last week, lost that one. Apologize, could have been 4-1. But I think getting 3.5 again, Vikings, game going either way, give me 3.5 points in a game that should be really, really tight. Bills laying 7 against the Panthers. I don't trust this Panthers team, Seth, at all. I think they're the luckiest 4-3 team I could ever recall. Bills not a great, but I think they're certainly good enough to beat this Carolina team by double digits. Give me Buffalo -7. Talk about the Browns, Seth. Again, I'm fading Drake May, taking the Browns defense, so I got to like them plus 7.5 against New England. While I like New England a lot as a team, I think the Browns are one of those teams. I have a definition. There's bad teams like the Titans, and there's really good bad teams like Cleveland. I don't know if Cleveland's bad because their defense is really good. They're going to make that game very tight and tough. Give me the Browns plus 7.5. I wouldn't even be shocked if they win it, but I think they'll keep it close. Last but not least, you heard me talk about Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. How can I not like the Baltimore Ravens if Lamar plays, which as of this taping, I expect him to, laying less than a touchdown against a Bears team that I think, Seth, is extremely overrated. Give me the Ravens laying 6.5, my friend.
Greg, always good stuff, man. Thanks. I'll check in with you next week.
Appreciate it, buddy. I'll speak to you guys next week. Be good.
All right. After this break, my final thoughts and predictions for the Birds rematch against the surging New York Giants and a Week 6 revenge game at the Link. Since 1893, Weber Display and Packaging has been Pennsylvania's leading manufacturer of corrugated packaging and displays. We're family-owned with 4 Philadelphia locations, 2 converting facilities, a warehouse, and a fulfillment center. Designed through delivery, we exceed customer needs. Weber Display and Packaging, our core values drive everything we do. Come join our team.
Gentlemen, are you ready for a wardrobe update? Introducing Divine Nine's Custom Menswear, your clothier for truly unique, custom-made threads. With Divine Nine, you can design your own one-of-a-kind suit, jacket, slacks, shirts, golf pants, and shorts, perfectly handcrafted by our skilled artisans who will bring your vision to life. Prepare to stand out from the crowd with Divine Nine's Custom Clothier, official clothier of Seth Joyner. Custom clothing made for you.
I got this old thing and the bill from the store where I got it. Figured you could beat it with a better deal than one of these big boys.
That doesn't work that way.
Well, at Verizon, anyone can bring in their AT&T or T-Mobile bill and they'll give you a better deal.
I thought Verizon was pricey.
No, better deal, best 5G network. Back to the TV. Does it come higher than 8K? Because I don't like to squint.
Ma'am, take your TV and go.
Bring your AT&T or T-Mobile bill to Verizon for a better deal.
Guess you're not as cool as Verizon.
You don't know that?
There's a number on the screen.
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 There's a number on the screen. There's a number on the screen.
There is a number on the screen.
There's a number on the screen.
There's a number on the screen. There's a number on the screen.
At Revolution X, we know that fortunes are made in times of uncertainty. Are you selling your investment real estate? Are you interested in deferring your tax with a 1031 exchange? At RevX, we're experts in 1031 exchange planning and the use of passive real estate options using DSTs. Not in the midst of an exchange and want to invest in real estate but don't know where to start? Revolution X has institutional grade real estate options for any size investor right now. Set up a consultation at RevXWealth.com. RevX, defer the tax, maximize the gain.
This segment is brought to you by Weber Display and Packaging. Welcome back. While there's much to be encouraged about with the Eagles' passing game of last week, there are still concerns. The O-line is banged up. They cannot get Saquon and the run game on track. And while the passing game had a great day last week, much of the production seems to have come on broken plays. I'm encouraged after looking at the film because upon further review, Kevin Patullo made some great adjustments to how they operated over the first 6 weeks. Jalen under center more, allowing for more play-action passing, more creative route combinations, and not forcing the run game if it wasn't clicking. Like I said last week, identity is a catchphrase that can get an OC in trouble if his forced identity isn't working. This offense will get the run game rolling at some point, but in the interim, their identity may adjust from week to week. Run heavy if it's working and passing if it's not. But Jalen's, as well as AJ's, Devontae, and the rest of the receiving corps' confidence has got to be sky high after dominating one of the top statistical defenses versus the pass. Defensively, like I stated earlier, That was a bounce-back performance after the Giants game. The name of the game is to keep the other team out of the end zone, and the Birds did that in spades last week. The return of Nakobe Dean to the lineup was impactful in the run game, and it'll be interesting to see how Vic Fangio deploys Campbell and Dean in the weeks ahead. Jalen Carter made his presence felt for the first time this year, and Fangio's masterful deployment of Cooper DeJean in multiple roles will continue to be a point of emphasis to observe. It is noteworthy how the young secondary stepped up to the challenge of defending one of the NFL's best duos. With the return of the Mac Brandon Graham, the Birds' defensive front should get a shot in the arm. And the leader/hype man of the Birds D for so long will contribute in a myriad of ways. Welcome back, BG. Next up, the rematch from 2 weeks ago, the New York Giants. After being dominated versus their division rival, the Giants rolled into the Link after a major collapse, losing to the Broncos in a game they should have won last week. It'll be tough for the Giants to bounce back psychologically, but the Birds can't count on that. The Giants believe that they can beat the Birds after doing so 2 weeks ago. Containing rookie quarterback Jackson Dart and pounding rookie running back Cam Scatterboo will be objective number one. The offense will give the Giants DC much to prepare for after looking at last week's passing explosion versus the Vikings. And if the Birds can't get up for this one, they all need their pulses checked. I expect for them to come out breathing fire and throwing haymakers in order to even the score versus a divisional rival. Give me the Eagles moving to 6-2 with a dominant win over the Giants, 17-30. That's the show for tonight. Check in next week as we look back at another Birds win and look ahead to the Birds bye week. Hopefully, they can get the O-line healthy and ready for the stretch run. Good night, Philadelphia, and go Birds.